And I am here, as always, on a Friday afternoon at midday UK time and 2 p.m. Latvia time with the one and only Karlina. So thank you for being here today, Karlina.
Hey, hello everyone. Hey, Leena, good to see you again.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking, how is your week during this crazy new normal? Are there any changes in your work life?
You know, this week's been a funny week where I've really felt everything come together. You know, for a long time after the pandemic hit, you get into this situation of flux and almost scrambling because it's so uncertain, you don't know where to go. But this week for me has recruitment wise has been a really good week. We've had 10 job offers come through this week.
Awesome.
So it's been great, and I think the biggest change for me has been that you know, I've really gone helping my clients from the ground up. I've gone in there and I've been part of their team. And I think for us, that's been the biggest difference, almost doing their job for them, but in partnership, helping them from the ground level up, because everybody needs all the support and help that they can at the moment. And the result of doing that has been, you know, fantastic this week. So yeah, really, really good week. UK generally is fine. We've had a couple of cities go into lockdown, but I'm managing to get my gym sessions in. So as long as I do that, I'm okay.
Awesome, good to hear.
Yeah. I don't know, like let me just see if I can see anybody on live. Let us know if you're watching live or watching on the replay, and let us know if you've got any questions about this live, about how your workplace will look different, if at all, post-COVID. So let us know if you're watching live or on the replay, and if you have any questions, or if the title has intrigued you enough. Do you have any questions? We're not experts, but we can just tell you what our perspective is on this topic, because I've been doing some research and reading, and for me it's just been absolutely fascinating. So how are things in Latvia for you, Karlina?
Yeah, you know, Leena, I have noticed some changes, and really it so much comes together with the topic that we chose. And I think it just happened by a coincidence, but it's not really a coincidence that we chose a topic, because we choose topics that are actually important for the moment, right? And so what has happened to me this week is I am in another town. I'm visiting my parents, and you know, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is how people probably will never go back to the office as much, you know, as they used to, because probably a lot of people will just say, hey, you know, working from home is awesome. And so, you know, literally 30 minutes ago, I was on the beach. It's a really hot day here in Latvia. I was in my bikini taking, you know, the last wash up from the sand, jumping in my car, coming to my parents' home, putting on some makeup, and I was here in 25 minutes ready to work with you, right? So I think this is the new normal. It's normal for me. I'm working offline right now. I mean, offline in terms of I'm not in the office, but I'm working online, and because I'm talking to people. And the other thing that happened to me was I was called to do something like 10 times more workshops this fall than I did I'm doing trainings for grown-ups who want to extend their professional skills in lean and project management. So I was asked to do 10 times more than last fall. Why?
10 times more.
10 times or even more. I would have to calculate. I will be blocked until December, basically each day. Why? I think because this time, for the first time, they are all going to be online. I'm not going to have to go anywhere. So I think this company, which I'm working for with this project, I think they just got a lot more applications due to the fact that they are switching to online studying. Okay, and you know that universities are doing that too. And so I think this is super relevant to the topic. And really, if you guys are listening online, please comment. What changes have you seen recently that you know they're gonna stay? Because honestly, Leena, I'm not even sure we're gonna go back to real life full presence in, let's say, training like I'm doing. You know?
Yeah. So
what would you say?
previously you've done trainings in front of a whole group of people, classroom-based training.
Right. It's like,
Yeah.
like 20 people sitting there just doing this subject for their personal improvement of their professional skills. And right now they're all going to sit online.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm really
so
wondering.
you've been able to, because of that change, you've been able to change the way you work, but also 10x your income.
Right. That is true. That is true. You know?
Yeah.
Like for professions like mine, this is a time of chance.
Yeah.
And I'm really thinking and pondering, like, for different people, different professions. And as we will go through, I collected also, like you did, we both did some studying on this topic, and I collected so many ideas that people have. How do they think things will change? And I'm really interested to see our world in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
because this is
it's
making
really
me think,
interesting as well, because I spoke to a friend from Latvia this week. We just had an accountability call together, and she was saying to me about Latvia and how for her she's almost forgotten that there was a pandemic because things are so normal in Latvia. Things haven't really changed, but comparison to the UK, where things are very different today than they were kind of pre-COVID. But even in a country where you've had a very low death rate, a very low kind of case rate, you're still seeing change.
Exactly. We are not seeing change in terms of, like, there's not so much of face masks, and this level of stress is probably much lower than in the large cities. But things like these, things like meetings, like, my father is an architect, so he used to have to go see customers all the time, these planning meetings, and he's like, I have not even gone anywhere out of my office for 3 months. Like, they are all Zooming,
Yeah.
The only reason he would literally have to go somewhere is to see the actual building and inspect whether it's done right. At the same time, Leena, I spoke to a guy just 2 days ago. He's working also on, installing electric, whatever machines, like cashiers and, whatever has got screen and buttons, And so whenever clients have this issue of, something's not working, like my printer is not printing, you call the IT guy, right? He said he's literally imagining in a few months that he would just lift up a drone in the city where it's happening, probably not close to his home, right? He's lifting up the drone and going to this machine and doing it via robotic hands,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think things will come into play. And Leena, sorry, as we are saying this, I want to remind people to go back and look at the video that we did last week, because this is super connected. We had a guest, Anders, who is the expert in blockchain, and he shared his thoughts and experience on how does he think the technology will come into play. And I would suggest everyone to, if you didn't watch that, go back and see it, because it's just sort of like, the platform for what we're speaking of today, because, I didn't want to change on the technology, focus on the technology today so much, but it is one of the things that's just like, sped up, and it's not going to slow down, right? What
Absolutely.
do you say?
So the excuse that some people may have, if because we do have a kind of worldwide audience here, is, well, we've got a really low death rate, we've got a really low case rate, so it's not going to affect our country. But it's not the case. Everyone's going to be impacted. And what prompted me to approach you about this subject is I'm obsessed with what a post-COVID world would look like, and I found when I was researching and reading that everything in terms of physical form in our society has been shaped by disease.
Wow.
So the shape of our houses, the modern street grid, our drainage system, the drainage system that we know today, and the foundation systems that we have for building houses was a result of the bubonic plague that also began in China back in 1855. Yeah.
So they designed the pipes for what?
So the bubonic plague is you get it through the fleas that go on rats.
Right.
So anything that we see that prevents rats from entering your home or prevents rats in general, our society, our homes, our drainage system, our sewage system is all designed to keep that plague away. And so our cities are actually shaped by disease, which then led me to think, what impact will COVID-19 have on society in terms of, let's just talk about the workplace. We can talk for hours about how homes will change, but in terms of workplace, what impact? And I've been, researching some kind of design agencies and architects, and there's some really great things out there of what they're suspecting might happen in the future when it comes to the actual workplace. So yeah, it was just a really, really interesting article for me.
So Leena, what do you say? I mean, not so soon in Latvia, but those people who will, because certainly one of the predictions is that many of the people will just not go back to office, not anytime soon. They are used to staying at home. It's comfy. It's cheaper, so much cheaper. Like, and remind me to talk about the real estate prices regarding this. Okay, but I want to finish the idea that I wanted to ask you, like, those people who will be forced to go back, whether they are, factory workers or they are in large offices, they will go back. Are you seeing any face masks or super extra like sanitizings in the UK with where there's a lot of more condensation of people? What do you say about that now?
Absolutely. In the UK now, it's mandatory for you to wear a mask when you're in a shop.
Oh, wow.
And so some shops will have a sign saying you have to wear a mask if you're inside. So mask wearing for us in the UK has become a norm.
Wow.
It's
and
normal
also
if you go to
in workplaces, in offices, and
to be honest, like we have at Citrus Connect, we've decided to create a remote working force for now. So we make sure that our staff are kept safe. So we've been working remotely from home. So I don't really know what it's like personally going into an office space. When I was in the office space, you go into an office and there's sanitizing stations everywhere.
Wow.
So yeah. And then obviously, if you know me well, I'm obsessed with the gym. So even in gyms, there's sanitizers everywhere and there's sprays to wipe things down. So there is a real kind of focus on keeping things clean and wiping surfaces, but also keeping your hands clean and wearing masks for sure.
This reminds me of one of the things that I read about is that the design of automation, like automatic doors, so that you would never touch anything. And I think that's one of the things that actually makes sense. I could dispute the masks because the virus doesn't spread like that far via the air, and if you're sitting at your desk and your colleagues over there, I mean, literally, right? You're not gonna get that easily that sick. But touching everything, like the doorknobs and whatever, like buttons for elevators, that's one thing that I would totally agree with, and it's simple to do, like literally just do automatic doors, like supermarkets already have that,
but we've already seen that. Like if you think about your iPhone now, like you just recognizes your face, with one of the recent ones. So doors, I've read as well that they will have face recognition doors, so not anybody can enter, but the automation will be on face recognition. I've also read that sooner or later, they're starting to design lifts at the moment where you would call the lift from your phone.
Oh, wow.
So you don't need to press a button, but you just call the lift from your phone. So I think, and then there's antibacterial doorknobs that I've heard of that they're doing as well, just in case you did need to touch a door. So everything is going that way. And again, I think this is a really fine line between the impact that the pandemic will have and making sure that we're safe, but also it's also a fine line to what we've been talking about robotics.
True, right? I mean, it was coming our way nevertheless, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what's really interesting about workspace as well is that I don't know what it was like in Latvia. I mean, I've worked in a couple of offices in Latvia, and they've always been co-working spaces. So I'm sure that it's just as popular in Latvia that it has been in the UK. But co-working has been so popular in the UK, I would say, for the last 10 years. Mainly to encourage startups to have some kind of base so they're not all working from home, but also to encourage collaboration between companies. But co-working and open plan offices have been the norm, I would say, for the last 20-30 years in the UK. Now it begs a question, because of the habitual nature that we have of social distancing, whether people will want to do co-working in the future. And will we go back to cubicles, you know, like in the 1970s, 1980s cubicles? Like, I guess it's a question to ask on whether we will go back. So I don't know if anybody's watching, like, you know, what do you think? Would you prefer to work in a cubicle, or would you prefer to stay in the open plan office that you have at the moment? Or would your preference be to work from home? And even working from home, like, I know you were going to talk about real estate, but, you know, I'm thinking going forward when architects are planning houses, I think that they will be planning for an office in each and every home. It will no longer be on the drawing as a spare room. I think architects will include home office on their plans of new houses.
Possibly, Leena, you know, and this is what I wanted to add on regarding offices losing the need to have people in the building, right? How will that impact the real estate prices in downtown, where there's like these huge office buildings in every large city on earth? Let's say if they just once of a sudden, a lot of companies just don't need all of these people present, if literally they all go from home, how will this impact the real estate prices and the usage of these buildings, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know is the answer to the question. If we do
Me
have
neither.
any real
It's
estate,
just something that crossed my mind.
if we have any real estate experts watching, we would love your opinion on what you feel will happen to real estate prices. But yeah, I think it will definitely have an impact. If all I can tell you is what my clients are doing at the moment in terms of who, you know, the hundreds of clients that we deal with, and a lot of them are moving everything online, so there's no need to have face-to-face meetings. You know, they're saving on fuel, they're saving on time, they're doing all the lean stuff that you teach, you know.
Exactly. And there's no business travel. Exactly. So they just kind of like cut so many expenses, don't they?
Yep. And time and fuel being two of the main ones.
True.
Yeah.
This Absolutely. Is not good for Elon Musk, because, you know, if we save on fuel, Tesla is not going to be so desired soon enough. Elon Musk, if you're watching, you can let us know what you think of that.
Absolutely. And I guess the other thing as well is like desk sizes. I mean, I've been in business for a long time, and what I've seen over the years is desk sizes shrink over the years. True. You know, they've gone from like nearly 2 meters to now sometimes 1.5, 1.4 meters as well.
Just the size of your computer, literally, right? No more paperwork. That's true.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like in a post-COVID world, will we see where desk sizes are going to start getting bigger again? Like, I'm fascinated to see what will happen. But I love these conversation starters, because I'm hoping it will really encourage people to start thinking about the future and what it will look like for sure.
Yeah. You know, there's one thing I want to talk about, which is not so much related to real estate. Some people say, and I've noticed that on my own, it's quite possible that the work environment, this whole world will become way different for women. Why? You probably imagine why, right? Like, women are the ones who would typically be forced to leave their children behind if they have the need to go to work. But if they work from home, you know, the ability to have, let's say, a babysitter next door, but you can still take a break, go to see your child every hour, it would change the world to me as a mom, you know, because being away for 8 hours and just giving your child to a stranger for 8 hours is so much different than having this interaction every hour for 10 minutes at least, or, you know, half an hour every 2 hours, right? And so I'm thinking whether that will make the difference in the female workforce.
Yeah, quite possibly. You know, I didn't really think about that. But what I have thought about is that I think there's going to be a better work-life balance going forward.
Right.
Or not even a balance, but more of a integration of
True.
work and life, you know, because you're working from home, that you have that flexibility to hopefully, I mean, I've given my staff permission to have a 2-hour lunch if they want to.
Yep.
you know,
I
because
mean,
as
I was
long as you
just at
get
the
the job,
beach. Come on.
yeah, exactly. So as long as you get the job done, like have the flexibility that you need. And I feel like we'll start seeing this integration between work and life, instead of work being, I mean, some people see work as a bit of a prison. I don't, I never have done, but you know, like a bit of a cage. And I feel like working from home will definitely expand people's thinking about, actually, how can I integrate my work as part of my life, and have an integration of both.
Right. And maybe it comes together with what we already spoke of in the first live that we had. If some people, due to the possibilities that are out there, due to the options of working online from home, if they really find the profession they love, you know, and be like you, Leena, that you love what you do, you don't want to stop, except for, you know, there are other fun things to do too, right?
Like Facebook
And
Lives.
yeah. And so, like, literally, and then I'm lucky to have that situation where I enjoy my work life. But for those people who didn't do that yet and didn't have that yet, if they choose to upskill or horizontally change some skill and work from home and really find that balance, possibly that would create a more peaceful world. I don't know. At the same time, not having enough human interaction is what worries me, though, because humans are social animals, and we need that. So
yeah. And it's a really interesting point, that, and definitely something that I've experienced firsthand, making my team go from working in an office to working remotely, is that we struggle to find a balance of that social interaction but independent working as well. And we had to work really hard, try a lot of things, and now, in order to have that social interaction, we have a Monday morning meeting, we have a Wednesday kind of what we call a clinic, so we can brainstorm, share best practice, and then on a Friday we have like a tea break, which is just a social hour for us to connect as a team, find out what's going on in each other's lives, and just chat, really. And we found that that's really helped. So then you only get 2 days a week where you are working independently, but on 3 days you will, you know, and when the circumstances allow, on a Wednesday we will be meeting as a team face to face. You know,
you mean like live, physically?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, should we, and will we as a world go too much into the direction of just not meeting people? And I doubt that, because we will not last long. We will not last long. I doubt that.
No. And it begs the question for mental health at that point as well.
Exactly.
You know, so again, if you're looking for a career, I was thinking about this last night, if any of our viewers are looking for a career like going into mental health or counselling, I think that's going to grow massively post-COVID for sure.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's not a happy news, not happy news, but still news, right?
Yeah, it's just, you know, you've got to think about careers that are going to be in demand going forward, you know, and start networking with those people. I've joined an amazing networking group called Lunch Club, and if anybody wants to be invited, let me know. Send me a DM or just comment below Lunch Club and I'll send you a link. But it's a great platform to meet other people and to really find out what's going on in the world now, so you can really start building your career plan to make sure that you are in a field that is going to be needed and that is going to be in demand coming out of this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Well, what do you say, Leena, if we wrap up today?
Yeah, absolutely. I've really enjoyed talking about this today.
Yeah, it went by real quick. There's so many things that are going to change. And again, I want to remind everyone, let us know what you think, because this is like any future prediction. No one knows for sure before it comes, right? So let us know what are you experiencing already. I think that's what we're most interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know in the comments. Let us know if you watch live or on replay. What's your workplace changing like? What would you like to see? You know, like, we can make things happen. We're in a really fortunate place right now that whatever we want, we can make happen.
True.
We can build the world that we want. So let's go and do it.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, I guess we'll see you next week, right?
Absolutely. See you all, guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.